Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all figuring out together how to peace out. We all discovered together that there's not a button to push. Peace out. I never have to push that button again. It's more like coming back to reminding ourselves all day, every day, that He has got us covered. And that's what we're going to talk about today with a very familiar scripture because we use it on here a lot. But before I do that, I'm going to start putting a plug for my books on the first. So I've got all kinds of books. I've got devotionals for caregivers. This is my latest release. You can get an ebook on my website, which is in the description there. The link to my website is an ebook, or you can get it on Amazon for print. If you get the ebook, you can print it out yourself, but it's got daily affirmations and questions, and it's kind of a journal style uh, workbook almost. And then I've got the devotional. This is my top selling book, 31 Days in Psalm 31. That's not saying much. It's still probably not about 100, but it's still my top seller, right? I can still say that, so it sounds important, right? But grab a couple of these. They make good Christmas gifts, and you can probably still get them by Christmas if you order on Amazon. You can get them right now if you order them on my website. So, and then you can just they are copyrighted, but you can share them. You don't. There's no. I even say in my copyright that you feel free to share it. You can print them off. You can give it to whoever you want. So just share it because my thing is I just want us to grow. Isn't that what this whole devotional is about? Is learning how to grow in our knowledge of God, learning how to grow in our ability to let His peace reign. I mean, I don't know about you, but I got a long list this morning. As a matter of fact, when I get done here, I'm going to do some things for Chris. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write everything out of my journal and I'm going to make a list of what can I do right now about this? What am I just trusting? I'm just going to trust God with all of it, right? But I got a list and I'm sure you've got a running list too. But it's all about just gathering that list. It's not a bad thing. And being able to give it to Him and go, just give me your wisdom. Why? Because we trust Him, which is what we're going to talk about today. Our scripture for today is this. It's Isaiah 26:3. Now, I grew up, I know you've heard me say this before. I grew up, Mama held on to this scripture. This was her scripture, and probably the very earliest one I remember her quoting and sharing with me was Isaiah 26:3. You will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on you. And she quoted that because when she had me in 1960, she had a complete nervous breakdown and was institutionalized. She was on a whole handful of tranquilizers. She got the maximum number of shock treatments. That's the way they treated mental illness back then. It wasn't the best, but it happened, right? And when God healed her, I need to figure out a way to get her testimony onto a downloadable form. Put that on my list of things I need to do, right? And because I've actually got her still on a CD. I'm sorry, but she's sharing her testimony of how God just brought her out of that and healed her. And this was her life scripture that God was going to keep her in peace. It wasn't going to happen again. She wasn't going to lose her mind again. She wasn't going to go back into that. And she didn't. I mean, in her latter years, she was older and she did have some dementia, but she didn't know it, and she was just as happy as she could be, right? But she stood on the scripture all of her life that God would keep her in perfect peace, that because her mind was going to be stayed on Him. And of course, she never had another breakdown, of course. But here's the kicker to this verse. That's what I titled today's devotion. The kicker: you will keep him in perfect peace. Now, perfect. Let's talk about this. Perfect. Excuse my double glasses here. Perfect means finished, complete, whole, good, prosperous, healthy, peace. Isn't that awesome? Prosperous and healthy peace. Not just, oh, I might have peace. It's not fleeting peace. It's not uh, intermittent peace. It's not waning, waxing peace. It is complete, finished, whole, prosperous, and healthy peace. That's what perfect means in the Strong's, in the actual Hebrew. That they could have translated it any of those words, but they chose perfect, which means whole, complete. He will keep us in perfect peace, but here's the kicker: whose mind is stayed on you. That's not the kicker. My bad. Here's the kicker: whose mind is stayed on you. We quote this part: you will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on you. And the kicker is because he trusts in you. That's the kicker, is just trusting God. No matter how bad things look, no matter how complicated they get, no matter how complex our emotions get, no matter how horrible our finances look, no matter how what the recession does, if it gets better or gets worse, it doesn't matter. Our goal is to just trust God. Right? Now, I want to read this next verse too, because it goes with it. Trust in the Lord forever. Now, I could put a therefore there, right? Trust in the Lord forever, for in Yah, the Lord, is everlasting strength. There's a lot in these two little verses here in Isaiah 26, right? He will keep us in perfect peace when we keep our mind on Him because we trust Him. That's that's got to be the motivation, not just we don't. I mean, yeah, we can keep our mind on Him, and we're going to trust Him for peace, but our motivation is that we trust Him. Right? I'm going to give Him all of my. I already gave Him all my anxieties this morning. I gave Him my long list this morning, right? And I was like, God, what am I going to do about this? God, what am I going to do about that? I need your wisdom on that. So I already gave Him everything. Now the thing is to just trust Him. Trust Him for wisdom, because that comes from asking. Proverbs 2:6 and James 1. We can ask for wisdom. But then there's that act of trusting after we ask for wisdom. That's kind of where I am right now. I asked Him for wisdom this morning. I said, I need some specific direction on how to handle this and this and this. Every arena is kind of messed up right this second, right? And so I'm like, I need wisdom. I need your direction. I need to know what to do with this. And now, I didn't hear a booming voice come out of heaven. I didn't have a epiphany and go, oh, let me write that down. Now I wait. And that's the trusting part. I'm just going to trust Him even when I can't see the answer right in front of my face. I'm just going to trust Him even when I don't know which way things are going to go. How bad are they going to get before they get better? How better are they going to get before they get worse? I don't know. I just have to trust Him. And that's the kicker right there, is just trusting Him forever. But look at what we get when we trust God. We get peace. We get strength, right? Everlasting strength. For in the Lord is everlasting strength. Everlasting. That's the same way His peace is. Nothing has an expiration date on it. He doesn't say, well, go in my strength until noon tomorrow, and then that's it. You'll have to come back and push the button again. We have everlasting strength, but we also have never-ending love. We also have all-sufficient grace. We also have fresh, brand new mercies because it's our morning. God doesn't have mornings. We do. He creates new mercies for us in our morning every single day because we trust in Him. So we don't reap the benefit of His strength, of His peace, of His mercies, of His grace, unless we trust Him. That's the big kicker. So I just encourage you this morning to trust Him. Give Him your list. Write it down. I'm going to write mine down. I'm going to write down some things here in my journal in a little bit. Write it out. Process it in your mind. That's not a sin. That doesn't mean you're not trusting Him. But once you get that processed and once you're to that place, then you want to give it to Him and then just trust Him. And listen for Him. He'll give you direction. He'll give you a verse to hold on to. He'll give you, maybe you get a miracle too. That happens sometimes too, right? And so, but the whole kicker to all of it, the key to open the door to total peace, everlasting strength, brand new mercies, all sufficient grace, never ending love. The key to opening that door for you is trusting God. So I encourage you today to sit down and figure out. That's the hardest part. The other stuff we got. How do we trust Him? How do I trust Him in the middle of difficult circumstances? How do I trust Him in the middle of whatever's going on in your story? Because we all have different story elements, but we all have a story. How do I trust God with the elements that are making up my story right now? That's our task for the day. Figuring out how to trust Him with everything. That's when peace comes. Even if we don't see a change, we can have peace. Even if we don't see an answer immediately, we can have peace because we're doing the action of trusting Him for everything. That's why we can peace out. Peace out, you guys. Have a great day. I'll see you again tomorrow.